Hey guys, Dara here. I was asked to update my video blog. I'm really sorry that it's taken me so long to do that. I've just been really busy with medical school because I've actually started now. And I recently finished my first block and I did really well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I studied for that. And I recently just finished my first week of anatomy. So I'll go into a little bit about that as well. So I just finished molecular and cellular systems. It's our foundations course at OU to kind of, get everyone on the same playing field. We all took different things in undergrad. So some people have had some classes and some people haven't had some classes. So it was just kind of a way to ease us in. It moves a little bit slower than the rest of our courses, about probably 3/4 of the speed that we're going to work our way up to. So that was really nice to get kind of a feel for things before they just throw us to the sharks in anatomy. So what I did was I went to class pretty much every day. That way I know that I've heard my lectures at least once. So I've heard everything that the professor says at least once at regular speed. And while I'm in lecture, I use my iPad and I take notes on Notability. So I upload the PowerPoint and I write on top of it. I scribble on top of it. I highlight things. I add notes that I think are important, things that the professors say, so that later when I'm reviewing them, I'll know what the professor emphasized and which slides, they maybe skipped over and said weren't as important and stuff like that. So in the afternoon, I would usually take an hour or two off just to kind of give my brain kind of a break. I didn't study at school very much for molecular and cellular systems, unlike anatomy. So I would come home in the afternoons, usually right before lunch, and finish at noon, so I would eat lunch at my apartment. If we had an afternoon class, then I'd have to stay for clinical medicine or biostats and epidemiology, which, don't get me started, I hate that class. Everyone hates that class though. So in the afternoon I would come back and I would go through the PowerPoint and I would condense the information. So I would write all the things that I thought were important out on notebook paper. I used 8 different colors, so all those pens that I won in that giveaway really came in handy. I'm gonna have to keep those around. They work great. Pens are, pretty handy. So I wrote everything out. I once condensed 165 PowerPoint slide lecture into 10 pages of notes, and that was, a lot less. It felt like a lot less to study, 165 is a really daunting number, and we were getting those kind of lectures with that many, with that much material all the time. So condensing it worked really well for me. So that way, I had seen it twice. And then over the weekends, I would try to go over those notes, start committing things to memory, things that, pathways, the coagulation pathway and stuff. I would draw out on a whiteboard at school a lot, so that, and then, when you put things up on a whiteboard, it's really easy to, make connections between things. So I would add all of the things that influenced the coagulation pathway, and I would write little activating arrows or inhibiting arrows and stuff like that. And that really helped me. So that's what I would do, and I will tell you, I got an A on my final. I killed my midterm grade. My midterm grade was average, but I did pretty well and above average on my final. So this is what worked for me. I think that everyone's learning style is different. Luckily, we get a few days off before our finals to really study, and that was just me committing, the nitpicky things into memory and making sure that I could apply all of that knowledge in a clinical setting. And I studied with other people, and that worked really well for me. I found a cute boy to study with, so that's always fun. Study. We did study. My parents probably watch this. I can't say stuff like that on here. Maybe I'll edit. I won't edit that out. I'm too lazy. But hi mom, hi dad. Anyway, that worked for me. So find what works for you. That might work for you. If it doesn't, if it doesn't work, you have to scrap it and try something else. Anatomy is its own animal. So for anatomy, which I had my first practical on Friday, and I did really well on it. So what I do for anatomy is, we're required to go to lecture for anatomy because then we have lab right after. So on the days that I don't dissect, I go down to lab anyway. And sometimes I'll study for a little bit after our lectures if I don't think I'm going to remember everything that I need to find when I go down there right off the bat. So I'll go back to my mod room after lecture and I'll study, and then I'll go down there maybe an hour or two later when there aren't quite as many people in lab, so it's a little bit, more room to work. and I look at structures and I orient myself with the body and all of that stuff there, and I don't leave until I feel pretty confident that I can identify everything and that I know where everything is. And I know, you know, like where muscles attach and nerves that innervate them and where they get their blood supply and stuff like that. So that is working so far. I did well in my practical. Some tips for anatomy: double glove unless you want your hands to smell like formaldehyde all the time. You can use baby powder underneath your gloves, and that helps too. And then cover your nose with Vicks vapor rub or some kind of, you know, vapor rub, so that you're not just getting a full blast of formaldehyde and cadaver smell in your face. I wear goggles over my eyes. I mean, I wear contacts, which they don't necessarily recommend, but I hate my glasses and I don't like them. So I wear goggles, and then I wear scrubs, and I wear a white coat over my scrubs. So I always wear my hair up. My hair is never down for anatomy. It's always in a bun or in a ponytail out of my face, out of my way. I spend too much money on my hair to let it get into that kind of stuff. So that's what I do for anatomy. And that's kind of everything up to this point. I'm really sorry that I haven't been, you know, around a whole lot. My FAQ must be working though, because y'all have hardly asked me any questions lately, which I kind of miss. So if you have questions, please ask them. I always make time for you guys. You know, it's really true that in medical school you make time for the things that are important to you. Like, I have yet to miss any of my favorite TV shows, and I have yet to not be on Tumblr every day. So, yeah, definitely. Ask me questions. Sometimes I don't update my video blog because I don't know what to talk about. So ask me questions to answer here. If you want me to like talk about anything outside of that. I recently updated, like, someone asked me a question about my thoughts on the Ebola situation. I did that before we found out that there was someone in the United States that had it. So that's on my blog. I'll make sure that it's tagged in my answered questions in case you want to know what my views on that are. And that's it for this update. So, like I said, follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Tumblr at medschool-monarchess.tumblr.com. There's no at in there, ignore that I said that. And I'll see you guys later. Bye!